Tesla is probably going to leave California and head over to Texas. Now, I want to make this video not talking about what's going on with Elon Musk. Mind you, that's the example that I want to use. But what I do want to talk about is two things: capital flight and intellectual capital flight. Two really important things a lot of people don't talk about. And it's a perfect example of what's happening right now in the world. Most people are sheeple. Most people will listen to the government and will listen to politicians, or bureaucrats, I like to call them, and they think that these people on top have the best interest for them. Mind you, 99% of these bureaucrats on top have zero skill set for the position that they're in. Zero. I mean, absolutely zero skill set. They're politicians. Their job is to get votes. That's it. End of story. Nothing else. And so what we see throughout the history of civilization is these two things. Smart people leave, capital leaves. And so what you're seeing today is the hollowing out of California. You have all these ridiculous legislations brought in. Why? Virtue signaling. They are gearing towards the lowest common denominator of voters. It's all about votes. I want to stay in power as long as I possibly can. And they do not think of second order thinking, third order thinking. So what that means is, if you put this policy in, what's going to happen downstream? Domino effect, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you see it happening all over the place. This is why in the United States, Florida, Nevada, Texas are having huge influx of both residents and influx of business. Why? They're more competitive. It's better for them. Better tax policies, better state taxes. Overall, it's a better environment for you to either live or to do business in. So Elon had enough, right? He's like, they're the last car manufacturer in California right now. And the California local whatever municipality is saying, listen, you guys can't open up the plant. Tesla's like, I'm not having this. Like, we're open up in China, we're open up everywhere else, we're off to Texas. So you can look at his link. I'm going to put a little thing below this video to show you where he's talking about on Twitter. But this is a really good example of, listen, you may not be Elon Musk, but we are in an opportunity right now in the world where you are not beholden to where you live. I want to really repeat that. You are not beholden to where you live. We have such optionality these days where you can move around, whether that is moving your business legally outside of the jurisdiction where you're in, whether that is physically moving somewhere, or whether that's hiring people outside of your jurisdiction. Classic example, all the businesses I've been in require heavy duty marketing, require heavy duty SEO, require sales team. Based on regulations, based on policies, it's actually cheaper and more efficient for me to hire overseas. This is why even in Silicon Valley, majority of the developer teams are in India, are in Ukraine, are in Romania. We personally, for me, a lot of our teams in Ukraine right now. Dollar goes there much further. Great talent. We're not beholden to retarded fucking bureaucratic policies that we have to do, jump around hoops and bounds to just get something started. And so the more that the noose is tightened with politicians, with the bureaucrats, two major things happen. One, businesses that aren't getting proper environmental favors, or businesses that don't have proper incentives to stay, they leave. They leave. That's as simple as that. And what happens when they leave? Jobs go. Poof, bye-bye, see you later. So Elon's going to take his factory from Cali to Texas. Where do you think the workers are going to go there? Nowhere. They're going to hire people in Texas. It's simple economics, man. Like, do not trust the bureaucrats. They don't know how to do business. Their only job is to get votes. That's it. Nothing else is to get votes. They're not here to make your life better. You think they personally care about you? Come on now. Come on. What am I, living in a fucking Twilight Zone? There's actually people out there that believe that politicians care about them. It's like, I want to fucking pull whatever remaining hair I have out of my fucking head off of me. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. And then you have people who are very smart, so we call this intellectual capital. They leave too. And they leave in a multitude of different ways. They leave by working for other companies outside of the geographic area. This is why a lot of companies in the United States hire people in Canada. Why? Because of, one, you have great 4x opportunity when it comes to the American dollar for the exchange to Canadian dollar. You're getting already like let's say on average 20% premium. Number two, the base salary for the same type of developer in Ontario, for the same type of developer in California, is much cheaper. So in California, you're fighting for top tier developers from like $200,000 and up, US dollar, mind you. You can come to Toronto over here and get the same developer like $100,000. So 50% cheaper, but also cheaper because the dollar's stronger. So what's costing you $200,000 in California is costing you about $80,000 in Canada. It's a fucking no-brainer. And you're like, fuck it. I don't have to travel to work. I don't have to drive to office. I'm getting paid $80K to work on my own time. It's a no fucking brainer for you as a developer. And so these are the two major things that happens in cities or in states. It's the hollowing out effect. The tighter the policies that bureaucrats make, the harder it is for people to do business, whether that is red tape for regulation, where you got to check all these things out, whether that is a really hard type of hard cap tax system that they have, so higher the taxes, no incentive for you work, and also the fact of how difficult it is for companies to fire people from businesses. And this is a big one that a lot of people don't talk about. You know, most people, they're accustomed to a 9-to-5 type of work and they want a steady paycheck, and that's all they care about, right? And you have all these crazy policies over here. We're like, well, you can't fire for this, you can't fire for that, you can't do this, you can't do that. And so business like, what the fuck? I gotta run a business. I'm not a charity, I'm not a non-for-profit, I'm not a fucking NGO. I'm a fucking capitalist, man. I gotta make money or else all this shit falls apart. This is what fucking politicians don't understand. Classic example in Toronto, Google just pulled out of the Sidewalk Lab deal, probably worth, I don't know, maybe worth $100 million deal, gone. Why? I can take a wild guess why they fucking pulled out. You know, I can take a wild fucking guess. You can take a guess too, you know. It has to do with something about called City Hall. And so going back to the firing of people, all this trouble, you have all this headache, you as an entrepreneur. 40K a year fucking devs in Ukraine. Amazing fucking SEO experts I can get in Romania, in Serbia, in Bosnia. I can get some ridiculous Asian talent in Taiwan right now. Like, freelancers, contractors, and it's a win-win on both sides. Better for their taxation, gig work, project work. And this is a mindset you guys have to understand. And so depending on your position right now, guys, so maybe you are an individual. Doesn't mean you're stuck to where you are. Like, if you don't like where you're living, don't accept it as faith. Move. And you can move in two ways. You can move physically, or you can move your intellectual capital, meaning you can work for other businesses. You don't have to work locally. And you as a business, if you're an entrepreneur, there's a couple of things that can happen. A, you don't have to be legally registered here. Maybe you register somewhere else, a holdings company. And two, maybe it is not the best working environment for you. Go somewhere else. Like, do not be stuck in this mindset of just because you're small, you're not a Tesla, that you are beholden to where you are. No, we have options. Everybody has options. Figure out what the best option is for you. We should not have the second order, third order effect hit us and we get the fucking short end of the stick because of bureaucrats are making horrible decisions that affects your life, affects my life, and it's not good for the fucking community, it's not good for society, and it's not good for our families. Everybody else gets a short end of the stick while all these people... What consequences do they have for making these policies? Nothing. This is what people understand why I have such a disdain and I get vexed when I talk about the bureaucrats. It's not that I'm against government. I believe in a very minimalized, small government, a better government. But I get vexed because there's no accountability. You make a bad policy and it fucks everybody up. What happens to you? Nothing. In fact, you probably get a bonus and you get a $3 million fucking pension from the government. What happens to us as an entrepreneur if we fuck up? Guess what? We're bankrupt. Personally bankrupt, company bankrupt. And same with workers. Like, what happens when a politician makes a policy that makes it very difficult or makes it almost impossible from incentive structure for a business to hire people locally? What happens to those workers? They don't get a fucking job. But what happens to the bureaucrats that make those policies? Nothing. There's no consequences, which... oh, it hurts my head, man. There's no consequences for these people. Sure, we can do whatever we want if there's no consequences. Like, ridiculous. That's like a child, eh? Little kid that has no consequence. They'll do whatever. They don't give a fuck. And eventually they grow up to be bullies because no one's fucking slapped them in the face. I'm like, yo, you fucking can't do that, man. There's accountability and consequences for your fucking actions. And so I just want to quickly wrap it up. We'll see, man. Looks like Elon's moving to Texas. Goodbye fucking California. And remember, guys, you're not beholden to where you are or your situation. You can change things. You can better yourself and always be looking for ways to upgrade yourself and upgrade your environment around you. Peace out.